In 2020, the world is suffering. Since the first case of COVID-19 was detected in Wuhan in China, the coronavirus has spread all over the world in amazing speed. From China to Asia to Europe and to the whole world. This sudden world crisis has exhausted almost all the doctors, nurses and workers who dedicate to the medical care. The medical institutions are full, the world needs more hospital beds. As architects, we are obliged to discover new concepts and solutions to relieve these hospitals. Different kinds of makeshift hospital appear like the military one in France and the Wuhan one built in only 10 days. The common point of both references is that they are constructed simply and efficiently, which reveals the characteristic points for makeshift hospitals. But the comfort they provide are not great for patients, nor the medical staff working in them. Temporary does not mean less quality. The makeshift hospital needs to follow basic principles. It needs to be efficient because we are fighting against time, so each minute saved is great. It needs to be modulable because the number of patients is evolving, so the hospital needs to be flexible and possibly scaled up. Because we don't know how many times the pandemic will last, it also has to be sustainable. Finally, as this kind of situation could happen again in the future, this hospital needs to be transportable and storable in order to be used later for other situations and maybe in a different location. The life cycle of this makeshift hospital is then quite simple. It is stored in a warehouse, then transported on the location where it will be installed and used. After that, it is uninstalled, transported back to the warehouse where it can be easily repaired if needed.
In order to create such an easily transportable while comfortable makeshift hospital, we used the traditional yurt and the innovative scissor grids as references. We combined the textiles used in the yurt to cover a light and easily transportable scissor grid. Due to the simplicity of the form and the foldable property of the structure, the whole makeshift hospital could be applied for the most public space. For example, the Heroes Square in Hungary, the Central Park in America, or the Alps Stadium in France.
To demonstrate the way the hospital is built, we choose a football stadium. The hospital takes form units after units. The foundations are placed, then the beams on which are put the elements of the ground. Then the scissors grids for the vertical wall are deployed and the internal foldable walls as well. After that come the elements of the scissors grid for the roof. Finally, the units are covered with a layer of insulation and waterproofing fabric. At the end, the units are connected to each other with small corridor units and with accesses for the entrances. In this configuration, the hospital can host 125 patients.
This configuration of the makeshift hospital is composed of 13 units and 4 entrances. One for the regular entrance, one for the emergencies, the other 2 for technical access and entrance dedicated to the staff. The most used entrances are places near the corners, the easiest access in the stadium. Thanks to 3 decontamination halls, the hospital is divided into 2 parts. The non-sanitized one hosting the administration, technical rooms, kitchen, and medical staff resting area, and the sanitized one with the health units and the nurse units. One nurse unit is composed of 2 panoptic designed spaces in order to facilitate the work of nurses to survey the patient in the patient rooms placed around them. This form also allowed to give to all the patients the same light and comfort. In the middle of the unit, there is space for these usages: clean stuff storage, and filthy stuff that can be extracted outside with the ramp, locker room for the staff, and bathrooms.
The patients are hosted into individual rooms to give them comfort, calm, and privacy. It is divided into 3 spaces. The first one that can be closed from the patient with a sliding panel, where the nurses can prepare themselves before taking care of the patient in order to avoid cross-infections. Then, the patient space with the bed and a seat and a table, if the patient is in a good condition to move a little bit. Finally, in the corner is the bathroom part. Concerning the technical construction work, we made a section to appreciate how elements are linked to each other. This section, the patient room and the nurse's work area can be seen, as well as the building physical covering. This can be explained with 2 details, A and B. Detail A explains how the building is supported and attached to the floor. with concrete plots and steel beams, and how the scissors grid structure connects with these two elements. The layer on the top of the unit is a membrane composed of cotton and polyester to ensure the waterproofing of the units. Underneath, there is a second layer composed of felt or equivalent fabric in order to create insulation. On the interior side is placed an innovative sanitizer layer developed with silver microparticles. It is specially designed to eliminate a 99.5% of the COVID-19 in 1 hour. Thus, it ensures a high level of hygiene control inside the hospital. Finally, Detail B shows how the scissors grid structure meets at the highest point and how a double transparent membrane is put to allow light pass through, creating a skylight. The sublime feature of the hospital is that it can be disassembled and transported by trailer trucks, without the need for special vehicles. First, the outer fabric layer is disassembled, second, the scissors grid structure, and to finish, the interior partitions, the floor and the substructure. A study has been made of how to load the different parts of the structure in boxes and on pallets in an efficient way. Approximately 30 trailers would be needed to move the complex by road. More trucks would be necessary if the number of modules that make up the hospital increases and vice versa.
Because the COVID-19 pandemic may be not the last one, we need to be equipped to face the challenges in the future. This makeshift hospital has been designed to be adjustable and transportable to serve as many situations and locations as possible. From the Heroes Square with 50 patient rooms, to the Alps Stadium with 125, and the Central Park with 250 rooms. As architects, we should always broaden our horizon into the future and think over how to deal with continuous challenges that the world has given us.